God, it really feels like you're out in the wilderness, doesn't it? Out at sea.
Deck, ladies and gentlemen. As we have noticed, we have begun our initial descent down to our destination.
Bit late for that. Hello everybody, welcome to Chaz Draycott Media and welcome to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator. As you'll have seen from the thumbnail, we are back in this gorgeous ITA Airways Airbus A320neo today, and we're back at Milan Linate Airport. This is another charter flight, thanks to my good friend Jakub Szmanski, who has chartered this one. We're going to be going from LIML today to LMML. We're going to be going down to Malta, and it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful day's flight. It's fantastic conditions as well this morning. We're using real weather, real time as well, and I'm really excited to get back in the A320neo to take this one on. I'm using my usual VATSIM scratch pad that I've made. There's a link in the description for that. And I'm using the fly-by-wire A320 Neo checklist that I got off Flight Sim TO, which you can also get for free. It doesn't take much to search for it, so go and have a ganders there. I'll show you the route that we're going to be taking today. We're going to be going from Milan Linate just south. It's a very simple route. We get to Ekpal, and it's a long old straight line over 400 nautical miles to Pal, and then Maron, and then we get to the VOR at GZO, and then we have to sort of vector ourselves into Tivor. There's no arrivals on the way into Malta in this direction, it seems, but you can see, look, there's a heavy VOR there where a lot of people from different directions go over it. So we're then just going to head straight to Tivor, and then we're going to go in on Sudox, and then obviously get onto the ILS for runway 31. I need to connect to VATSIM. Oh, there's actually a new version. I didn't check that a minute ago, so there we go. We'll get that downloaded. Awesome, and now we can connect to the service. We're going to be as Itaro 8 Juliet Sierra today. I really don't like the call sign Itaro. It sounds really sort of, doesn't flow very nicely off the tongue. Airbus A320neo, and we're going to connect, and we'll see whether there's anybody around us here on VATSIM this morning. Nope, much like we had at Luxembourg, it seems like we're very much on our own here this morning at Milan Linate. It's not a massive airport though, so it's kind of understandable. There is also ground on at Malpensa, I can see, so it's understandable that a lot of people will be flying out of there. Let's get in the aircraft, shall we, and crack on with our procedures list and get this thing set up. So we need to do batteries 1 and 2 on to begin with. You can hear the power click into life. External power comes on. We then obviously want the APU master switch on. Wait a couple of seconds, then go for the start switch, and then we'll put APU bleed on after that. Crew oxygen supply adheres to nav, left, right and centre. Strobe goes to auto. Seatbelt signs come on. Actually, no, sorry, we are on the emergency exits, and then we have the no smoking signs on. Apologies, went the wrong way with that. We'll do our fire tests. We know that they do them rapid time in the fly-by-wire. Cool, happy with that. And then we'll put the outer fuel tank pumps on, and then we'll come back down here to check what is next. So we've done the fire tests, la-di-da-di-da, fuel quantity, barrow needs to be set, so let's get the information for the airport today. 1011 on the barrow, so we'll pop that in here, we'll bring it down like that, and we'll do what Drew does, where we'll pull it into standard, square it up, and then put it back in, and then we'll go on this side, and it's done the same. Okay, cool, so it remains like that on that side, and then we need to set up the MCDU, so we come down here, we need to brighten it up a bit. All the screens are really dark in here at the moment. So we go to ATSU, AOC menu, init press, init data request. Cool, it knows what we want. Init, and then init request. Let's get a bit of lighting on in here, shall we? We'll get the overhead lighting up a little bit. It's apparently full brightness. Seems very dark, doesn't it, in the fly-by-wire. We'll lock the cockpit door. Okay, also what we will do is get GSX boarding everybody. We've got the jetway attached already. So we'll request boarding. What are you doing on there? I do have a GSX profile for this place, but again, it was one that last time I think didn't seem like it was quite right. It just didn't seem to be behaving itself, which was really strange. Yeah, we'll attach the pushback tug now, shall we? So let's go back into the MCDU. There's our route uplink. All is good, it's got that in. So what we would then want to go to flight plan, LIML. We're going to be on the TOVS 6 X-ray departure today from runway 17. TOVS 6 X-ray, and we do have, I think it's ECPA 6 Alpha, yes, ECPA 6 Alpha transition. We'll insert that, and then when it comes to LMML, we've got no arrivals in, but we are going to be on ILS 31. Oh, we could go approach Vias. Yes, Tivor. Okay, cool. So it knows what we want there at least, which is good. Banging. Now what I want to do is just quickly check that on here. We're going to turn the ND and everything up. Screens are really dark again. I don't know why. we'll see in time with that. I have gone back to DX11 actually on Flight Sim, so maybe it's something to do with that, because DX12 for me was being a little bit jittery at points. I noticed a few really strange things, and obviously this is less intensive. If we go to plan up here and then put the range to 20 miles, we can then compare, looking at this screen here, to what's going on this screen here, so we can step the journey and get an idea as to what it's going to look like. There should be a gap once we get to GZO, yes, and we're going to get rid of that discontinuity, and we're going to go straight for Tivor from GZO, so it's going to join the two of them up. Fantastic. We need to then go to our, go to init B. We need to put the zero fuel weight and everything in once the aircraft is ready. Let me check the block fuel on SimBrief. Block fuel today 7578, so 7.6 on the block. Let's just check out boarding for a minute, and then we'll get all the weight and stuff calculated once they're in. Right then, we've got everybody still boarding the aircraft, but I'm going to get the zero fuel weight and everything off here in just a moment. We need to include everybody actually, so we need to do boarding instantly, fueling we'll do fast, and then once all that's in, that's when the aircraft knows what its weight is then, rather than what GSX knows the weight is. We shouldn't really have had those pumps on, to be honest with you, but it is what it is. So once that's in, then we can then put the zero fuel weight in. When I flew out of Croatia, I had an issue where I hadn't quite checked it to the right
Ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck,
right what?
On behalf of myself, your captain, the first officer, and cabin crew, I'd like to take this time to welcome you aboard our flight.
Jesus.
We're just wrapping up some paperwork up front here and waiting to receive final numbers from the ground crew, then we'll be on our way. Flight attendants will be coming through the cabin shortly with a very important safety briefing. We do ask that you give them your full, undivided attention as they review the safety operations of this Airbus aircraft. We do appreciate your business having you aboard this flight. If there's anything we do to make your flight any more enjoyable, please don't hesitate to ask. Welcome aboard.
Okay, so they're filling the inner tanks now. As you can see, the total amount is going up on here. There's not going to be anything in the center tank actually, which interests me. I thought they always filled central tanks first rather than the outer tanks, but it is what it is. And we can have our performance calculator for takeoff here. So it's LIML, runway 17. Winds at the moment are 180 at 2. 180 at 02. Temperature is currently 18 degrees, so it's a nice warm day. QNH is 1011, and we need to get our takeoff weight in just a second. Should tell us in here. Zero fuel weight. Where do we get it to tell us that? Oh, fill data from OFP. There we go. Calculate 135, 135, 136. Now let's check that's correct and matched up. 56.4, 32.4. No. No, it is not. Interesting. So 63784. Oh, that's the zero fuel weight. Sorry, that's the takeoff weight. So what's the zero fuel weight? Yeah, 56.4. Okay, so I have got it right, or the aircraft has got it right. Anyway, I haven't done anything. Okay, so I'm happy with that. We just need to get the V speeds in. So it's 135, 135, 136. And was it flap 2 or flap 1? Flap 1, flex to temp 67 today. And we'll get all that info in there. Beautiful. Okay, cool. I'm happy with that. We keep the perf page up for when we get flying. Let's check what's next on here then. Basically, we need to just get ready for start after that. Don't think we've finished boarding just yet, so we'll give it another moment or so. I'm going to get my initial altitude from the departure at this point, because why not? Can't have it too early. Flight level 100 above. 2600 and then 6000. We're going to be going to Tovza as well, so we're going to be going to 6,000 feet. So we'll crack that on here. Oh! We have somebody on VATSIM. Didn't understand a word they said, but we have somebody on VATSIM. Okay, I'm pretty sure boarding will be done any second now. There it is. There's the bong from GSX. So we are all good to prepare for pushback. We're going to be pushing back onto, I believe it's Charlie and then Delta and Bravo. It's a really weird order with the taxiways here. We're at stand 4. So we're going to be pushing back on Delta, then it's Bravo, Charlie, and then we're going to go Alpha, holding point Alpha for runway 17. We're not going to use full length today. We're just going to go on from Alpha and then Golf. I'm going to write that down on here just so I know that I definitely used Golf for my departure. Cool. Okay, are we ready to go? We can turn external power off. So before we get going, windows and doors, let's make sure they're all closed. We'll look outside the aircraft. Yep, we just need to remove the jetway. Let's put those central tanks on as well. Remove the jetway. We'll turn the external power off, change over to the APU. Put our beacon light on. Seatbelt signs on now that we've finished fueling. Yep, flight attendants, arm doors and cross-check. You can hear that in the background. Thrust levers are definitely to idle. Parking brake is set. APU and APU bleed. Yep, external power disconnected. And then engine goes to ignition and start. So we can pop this back on arc. Keep it on 20 miles for now. And we'll now prepare for pushback and departure, please. GSX. Fantastic. Okay, we're going to be going nose left, tail right here. Remove parking brakes. Linate traffic. It's Arrow 8 Juliet Sierra pushing back stand 4. Linate traffic. Should have probably told them that beforehand, but we can now put the engine mode into ignition and start. And we're going to start engine number 2. There it goes. Parking brakes are on. It's lowering the aircraft back down. We've had a good engine start on the right-hand engine, as you can see. Fantastic news. And now we'll go ahead and start engine number 1. Okay, left is clear, right is clear. Just waiting for that left-hand engine to be completely started on here. Waiting for the N1 to get to about, I think it's 18 or 19. You can just hear the buses transferring in the background there. So before taxi checklist, we need to put the engine mode back into normal when that's done. We're going to go flaps 1 now. Speed brakes need to be armed. They're down here. Going to put predicted wind shear on a little bit early as well. we need to put auto on here and TA. We're going to squawk 2000. Flight attendants prefer precipitation preferred for takeoff. The APU bleed comes off. APU master switch comes off. I'm going to pop them off up here. Bleed off. Master switch off. And then the next bit is pitch trim and rudder trim. Make sure they're all sorted. And then we're going to do the runway takeoff. Runway turn off lights are going to come on in a minute. And then nose light to taxi. Okay, we're going to do a quick brake test when we get moving. But yeah, all good to go. So, we need to let them know. Linate traffic. It's Arrow 8 Juliet Sierra taxiing runway 17 via Alpha. Parking brake off. Let it roll forward a little bit. Let's just do a quick brake test. Yep, good stuff. Okay. Let's roll. Thanks again, Jakub Szymanski, for chartering this flight, mate. It's good to see you finally get one in on the channel. It's a pleasure. Now, I have got the aircraft registration. I think I had this issue last time, down as Echo India November Alpha, but for some reason the livery, despite being listed as that, comes up as EIA. Don't know why it does that, but it's absolutely fine. What a glorious day to go flying, though. Look at the weather. Gorgeous, gorgeous morning. Like I've said, I'm using real weather, as I so often do, and when I go on VATSIM, I like to just keep things as real as they are at the time. Turning left here. This is the Jetstream Milan Linate, and I think at the other end I've got Just Sim scenery for Malta. You too can charter flights via my website, of course, but there is a small fee for doing so. It just goes towards covering some of the time and effort that goes in, and obviously some of the scenery as well, which often can cost more than what the video fee is, but I enjoy doing these, and obviously I get a bit of money back from the videos as well. It's no sort of hidden secret. But now as we taxi, before we take off, we need to do a few things here. We need to put auto brakes on max down here. We need to check the cabin, pop that with a ding dong up there. And then we need to do a takeoff config test before we get to holding point alpha. Takeoff config is normal. This is holding point alpha, I believe, here. No, this is golf. Where's alpha? Oh, sorry, run taxiway golf. Yeah, this is holding point alpha. Okay, parking brake set. Linate traffic, it's arrow 8 Juliet Sierra, holding short runway 17. Let me just make sure there's nothing else that needs doing. We're going to be flying at flight level 370 today. It's probably worth just going into the... Yep. Words failed me there, sorry. Okay, so initial altitude is set. Radar is set. We have predicted wind shear to auto. We need to put the engine mode back into normal. I forgot about that. We then have auto brake max, yeah, all that good stuff. Transponder auto are on, and we're going to put that to TARA now as we get onto the runway. Landing lights, nose light, strobe light, all good. Linate traffic, it's arrow 8 Juliet Sierra, landing at runway 17. Okay, so let's put the landing lights on. Runway turn-offs on. Strobe goes on. Nose light goes to takeoff. No, not start the APU. This is the issue I had. I try and do things from that angle, it just doesn't work. Let's take those parking brakes definitely off and get moving. It came to quite a sudden stop there, so it didn't want to get going again. Never put nav and logo light on. Okay, let's line up. We're going to get straight out of here, to be fair. Linate traffic, it's arrow 8 Juliet Sierra, departing runway 17. Let's go straight here. We've got everything set and good to go as far as I know. Just a case of clicking the chrono. We're going to set this clock down here. Boop. Set that to run. Now that we just get onto the runway. I hope you enjoy this video, everybody. I hope you enjoy this flight. I'm really looking forward to this one. I like flying out of Milan Linate. Obviously going to another new airport in the form of Malta, where I've never been before. Let's crack on. Build the throttle up to about 50%. Takes a bit of time to spool up in the Neo. But then when it does spool up, boy does it get going. All good, all stabilised. Up to flex. Manflex 67 SRS auto thrust is blue. Doesn't say runway at the moment, which is weird. Got climb and nav in blue. My throttle idents are a little bit out. B1, rotate. Positive climb, gear up. Tasty. Yeah, I think my idents are just out. If I pull the throttle back a tiny bit, it says man flex, but if I hold it there, it says man MCT. It's literally moving like 0.5 millimeter, so I think I just need to readjust those again. It'll tell us auto thrust in a minute, or throttle to climb, or thrust climb. Nice tidy departure though. Straight out, lever into climb. Bringing the nose down slightly. It's hard to see that screen, isn't it? It's very dark and dim like me. We're now gaining speed again. Aircraft is aiming for 6,000 feet. Straight off the bat. We need to be above 2,600 at the next waypoint. As you can see here. 210 knots. We're coming up on S speed. The aircraft is accelerating beautifully right now. So we can put the flaps up in just a minute. But what a lovely day here in Milan. It's a very flat part of the world, except for the mountains to the north, of course. S-speed flaps coming up. Aircraft is climbing slightly. Now it's getting away. I was worried we were going to have the same issue that we had in Croatia there. But it really is climbing. Look at this. God, it's space shuttle status. Got to pop the autopilot in now. In it goes. The aircraft can manage it. We'll go into standard pressure shortly. I may as well do it now. Stuff it. We'll go to standard before it tells me to. And then we need to just make sure we've cleaned everything up. So after takeoff, landing gear, flaps, packs on. I always forget packs. Auto brakes can be disarmed. Speed brakes, sorry. And then the Nose light comes down. Runway turn-offs come off as well. Landing lights stay on until 10,000 feet. Seatbelt signs stay on. Time for a beauty shot or two while we stay at 6,000 feet. Enjoy. It's such a beautiful aircraft, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful aircraft. Let's just have a look at our departure then. So Tovza, I believe, is 6,000 feet or above. Yes, 6,000 feet or above. Max 250 knots there. 6,000 feet or above at ML614. So to be fair, we can crack on from there. Let's just see if there's anything. Usually you get a initial climb clearance on here. Transition altitude is 6,000. Yeah, normally in this sort of area here, there's a little strip similar to this strip here that you get, and it tells you, initial climb clearance is this. I'm going to wait to Tovza though, just to make sure and be a good boy at the 6,000 feet restriction. Very, very happy with things after takeoff. We're going to then change over to the next page on my little checklist, and that's all good because that's just cruise and descent preparation. So let's pop those seatbelt signs off, shall we? Passengers can chill out a little bit. And we're now going to just stay at 6,000 feet for a little bit, and then we'll make our climb. Okay, we're about to get to Tovza now, so I don't feel so bad about cranking it up to 37,000 feet. Click that in, and puppy will climb. The eagle-eyed of you would have noticed in that shot that the screens were going really bright and then really dark, like flickering really quickly inside here. And I don't know what it is that causes it, but sometimes they're really bright and visible, and other times they're really, really dark. But I don't get it. Still, we're going to continue on now, climb up to 37,000 feet, and when we're up there, I'll give you an update. We're going through a bit of cloud at the moment. As you can see, we're just getting to the sort of edge of it now as we go over a bunch of the hills, but it's quite a, well, it's not necessarily a very long flight here today. It's a long old straight line now, pretty much all the way down to the next waypoints. We should be going to Ekpal, but we're just missing that out completely and going straight to Pal. I'll show you what I mean. So we're actually, no, look, we're going Apriv and then Ekpal, but on the on Volanta, it's got us going in a straight line past all of this, you see. It's not got Ekpal on there for some reason. Still, that's fine. Flight time today is 2 hours 9 minutes block time, and it is 1 hour 41 in the air. So we've got a good hour and a half yet before we end up back on the ground. But still, absolutely loving it. Thanks again, Jakub Szymanski, for chartering. After me saying how beautiful a day it is to go flying earlier, it's all of a sudden very cloudy. You can just about see Italy down there as we go over the hills. But yeah, we're getting into quite a bit of precipitation up here now. Not sure it's going to be that bad though all the way up. Obviously we're going to 37,000 feet, so it's very, very likely that we're going to clear all of the cloud and be in the perfect blue, beautiful skies. But everything is going well so far, touch wood. Really enjoying this flight. Nice, tidy, simple departure. And to be honest, I mean, a lot of this stuff does just become muscle memory now, and I love that about it. I feel so proud of myself. You know, this isn't, I hate to sort of inflate my ego in front of you, but I feel so proud of myself and knowing what these buttons do and knowing how the aircraft operates. And that's what's most rewarding about doing flight sim stuff to this extent, is making it all work and having the knowledge to make it work. You do get a bit of pride in having a good flight, I must admit. But I love making the content for this. I love recording the videos. I love the challenge of doing the flight while also making a pretty video out of it, because I don't use replays or anything. I don't go back in time. I just love doing this, and it's really, really cool. Thanks again to those of you that have chartered flights. This is my 20th charter as well, so thank you so much to all of you. I've got another one lined up after this, so if you want to get a charter in the next few weeks, please do get one in now. It's a good time to do it. We're above this beautiful blanket of cloud now, as expected, up in the sunshine at 37,000 feet. Well, we're not quite at 37,000 yet, we're at 34.5 right now. But yeah, as expected, we're in this beautiful, beautiful clear sky now above all of the cloud. It's quite a high cloud layer today though, usually it's a little bit lower than that. So yeah, we're just above it, and we're about to get to 37,000 feet now. There it is then. 37,000 feet in the fly-by-wire Airbus A320neo. Time to kick back and enjoy the cruise, I guess. 1 hour and 40 minutes airtime today. We've been in the air for just 24 minutes and we've arrived at cruise. That's pretty efficient if you ask me. Now we're going to sit back and enjoy it, so have some beauty shots. Welcome back into the cockpit, everybody. We are now an hour and 8 minutes in the air so far, 72 miles from the top of descent, and we are cracking on still at 37,000 feet. But it's now time to get everything prepared for our approach phase. So we're going to go into that on here. We need to start checking the information. So we've got QNH 1008 at the other end at Malta. Temperature is 17 degrees, winds 280 at 14. Excuse me. Winds 280 at 14. And then what was the temperature? 17 degrees. It was indeed. Okay, cool. We're going to quickly pop this out and put 1008 in, then whack it back in standard, square it up again, thank you Drew. And then we need to get our minimums in here. So let's get the ILS approach. We're going to be intercepting the ILS at 3,000 feet, and the minimums today are going to be 431. So we need to pop that in there as 431 into the Barrow minimums. Full landing config, VAP is 130 today. Cracking. We need to then get ready to put an altitude in here for our arrival, as we're just making a slight left turn here. Beautiful, beautiful scenes as well. Look at the fantastic scenery down there. Awesome, isn't it? Now I've upped my detail from just, I think it was on 50 to 75, and it's made such a difference already. It's absolutely mega. Let me just see now what our arrival is going to be like. Tivor at 3,000 feet. To be fair, we don't have an arrival chart, so Tivor at 3,000 is really our only sort of reference point. If we go to plan, okay, so Maron is next up and the top of descent is just after that. How far are we from the actual airfield? Usually we would have it on this and then have airport like that. Well, we're over 120 miles from that, and it's 3 times your altitude plus 5, I think Drew said. So it's what? 101 miles, 106 miles to get down to where we need to get to. So we're there. Okay. We're absolutely sound. Although, to be fair, I think that top of descent might be a bit late, because that's in, what, 40 miles? By that point, 40 is then, I don't know, it's about 120 from the airfield, so yeah, we should be fine. But we're going to pop this down then all the way to 3,000 feet. And get down big time towards the airfield. We're going to put that back on 20 now, go back to constraints, and we'll get ready to descend very soon, shall we? I'll show you on Volanta roughly where we are at the moment. As you can see here, we're just coming over the south of Italy, just off the sort of kick-up toe of the boot, let's say. And then we're going to go further south and into Malta. There's a few aircraft around there on VATSIM at the moment. AMC, can't remember what that is. Condor, I think that is CFG. And there's somebody on Volanta. Did that say 757-300? It did. But yeah, we're going to be going past it, round here, and then in on the ILS. So we've got a long haul distance left to go here today. 41 miles to top of descent. So I'll give you a couple more beauty shots now that we've got that all prepared. And we'll jump back in the cockpit for the descent. And in doing all the beauty shots, Chaz has missed top of descent. Right, let's get down, shall we? Aircraft will now slow down. It will start to drop. To be fair, I think engines just should go straight to idle at this point. We may have to get a little bit more additional drag in at some point. We'll put the seatbelt signs back on now up top, so everybody has to sit down. We'll see what we can do to make something of this descent, shall we? I'm actually going to take matters into my own hands a little bit here because we are speeding, and I'm going to put some speed brakes out to hopefully slow the aircraft down slightly, give it a bit more drag and catch up with that profile, because at the moment the aircraft is trying to catch up to the profile. Look at that, 5,000 feet a minute, and then it's going to eventually recalculate and level out a bit when we catch up with profile. It's doing a wonderful job, but the speed is climbing drastically at the minute. Look at that. Whoa, dearie me, it's a bit naughty that. Now the speed will slow down as the aircraft starts to level out. That was quite the dive to catch up with profile, that. I didn't approve that. There we go, we've gone past profile now, so the descent will slow down, the aircraft will slow down. And I'm going to keep the speed brakes in for a little bit. We're on half at the moment, as you can see. So I'm just going to make sure that it stays around that and that we're all good. Our apparent arrival time should have been 1:30 Zulu. That's definitely not the case. We're going to be very, very early. Actually, I think we took off quite early as well, to be fair, because it is currently 12:37 Zulu. I'm pretty sure I took off before 11:20, or I pushed back quite a while before 11:20, maybe 15-20 minutes early. But still, we've got a bit of time left to go yet. What's our arrival time? Expected to be 12:56. So yeah, very, very early here. But then again, a lot of flight plans and things, they always accommodate for a bit of a buffer time. When you see, you know, on your tickets, for example, that it says a flight will be 2.5 hours, it'll probably only be 2 hours. It's just they account for a bit of a buffer at either end based on pushback, delays, you know, taxi delays and other traffic. So there's usually a bit of a buffer in that regard. We still have the speed brake. I was going to say it's going to warn us that the speed brakes are still out. That's fine, we've got that. I know that they're there. I'm happy that the aircraft is staying where it is. We're still a little bit high on the speed at the moment. It's coming down, but I'm going to keep those speed brakes out for a little bit. I'm also wondering whether we need to get in touch with anybody on Volanta, because it looks like there might be a few people. Oh, they're going to OMDB actually. They are of no concern to us. They're on their way in. Let's click on the airport, shall we, and see. Have a look at live traffic. Arrivals, me. Let's just have a look on VATSIM. Turkish 4 Mike November. Where are they? Oh, they are of no concern to us right now. Okay, so we're all good when it comes to traffic in and around Malta. We're right at the bottom of that speed now, so I'm going to bring them out. I'll bring them up, I should say. You see, we're in the very bottom of this window here, so the speed will climb again as the aircraft continues to descend, but it'll probably just sit in the middle here, because the engines were actually powering up to compensate for the air brakes for a second there, and now the engines have gone back down to basically idle. Well, they have now gone idle. What else do we need to do then for preparation on the way in? We've got everything sorted for the MCDU. We've got everything in our perf page here for the approach. 1008, 17, 280 at 14, 1008, 17, 290 at 19. So it's quite a strong headwind, if anything. And then barrow minimums are 431. For landing, we need the auto throttle in. We need auto brakes as required. So we're going to put them on. Is it quite a small runway? Let's have a look. Let's have a look at runway information. It's behind my head at present, so I'll just drag it over here. It's 11,000 foot runway. So it's not exactly tiny, but it's not the longest in the world, is it? Going to be happy with low auto brakes on that one. Flaps will be set when we get closer to it. Speed brakes will be armed. And then, yeah, it's just landing gear down when we get the localizer. So we're going to put LS on. LS push button. 110.5. It knows what the heading is. 312. Picked all that up nice and tidy. We're still sitting at the bottom end of this speed sort of window, as expected. QNH is due to be 1008, and we've got that queued up in here already. Look, aircraft had a bit of a wiggle there as I did that. Probably shouldn't have done that. Feeling good though. Enjoying this. We'll continue on the descent now and then get ready to turn in. Oh, it's just come up there. We've got LM now. 30 nautical miles. Cracking. You can actually see, may not be the best resolution, but you can see the runway off in the distance there. It stands out like a sore thumb on Malta. We're going to basically aim straight at the airport for a little bit as we head round now. Let's just show you on here. We're going to almost head straight towards the airport anyway. It's basically in that direction. We're going to go past it, get to the bottom of descent, and then we'll all be golden to go in from there. The aircraft is trying to descend gradually. It's doing 2,000 feet a minute at the moment, which is really good descent rate, but it's getting us to 3,000 basically at the point we need to be there. So it's not doing it earlier than that and then sitting us at 3,000 for a bit. It's being quite fuel efficient. The cost index, by the way, today is 10 on this flight. Oh, we didn't ever put the flight level in there, but I suppose that comes away actually, doesn't it, when you drop down from it. Lovely, lovely view though as we turn left over Malta. Sure, it's not the best scenery in the world. It's not loaded in properly yet, but still, it's cool that you can at least have a look at it, isn't it? And there is the airport. Over to our left hand side, the scenery will load in. I've got the Just Sim Malta scenery, so I'm excited to see what it looks like when we get in. Malta traffic, it's Arrow 8 Juliet Sierra, 40 miles to runway 31. Hoping to intercept the ILS for runway 31 soon. Malta traffic. So that's one of the worst messages. I don't even really know what to say. I just want to let people know just in case there's anybody on the ground. I'll have another look on Valenta. There's one aircraft, but he's going from Malta to Malta apparently. But to be fair, there's nobody else on the ground on VATSIM anyway. That's me. And they're going over, and they've just departed, so nothing to worry about. And there it is. Awesome. We'll have a look actually at what gate we can land in. Land at the gate. Have a look at what gate we can park at. Oh, now where would we park? Oh, well, that'll be the international terminal, so there. Let's go. Well, we started on stand 4. Why are we not finish on stand 4? That's the wrong clipboard, Chaz. So we'll go stand 4. And we'll probably be getting onto it via... Oh, we might have to backtrack. That's interesting. Can we get off at Echo, you reckon? So it'll be something and then Tango. Let's see if we can get off at Echo, shall we? Okay, we're now going to come out of standard pressure. We're making our turnaround to the left. Aircraft has got us down to 5,000 feet very quickly here, so I'm really, really pleased with this. We're going to bring flaps down soon. We're going to arm the speed brakes just now. We'll bring landing lights on as well, which is something I forgot to do earlier. Usually I actually use that as a bit of a cue in my videos as well to change one of the chapters. So I've mucked up a little bit there, sorry. There is Malta over to our left-hand side. You can see the ocean and a little bit choppy down here. It's mighty beautiful though, isn't it? Let's get ready. That little orange marker just, come on, there. When we get below that, then we can bring in flap 1. You can tell the aircraft to start slowing down. Malta traffic, it's Arrow 8 Juliet Sierra. About to turn onto the ILS for runway 31, Malta traffic. God, it really feels like you're out in the wilderness, doesn't it? out at sea.
Point deck, ladies and gentlemen. As we have noticed, we have begun our initial descent down to our destination.
Bit late for that.
Now would be a good time to wrap up any business you need to take care of as we prepare for approach.
What?
If you are up, once you return to your seat, we ask that you remain seated until the aircraft arrives
Okay.
safely at the gate. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for arrival.
We've hit the decel point. We're going to arm the approach button over here. Boop. Cat 1, Cat 3 single. Cracking news. And now hopefully the aircraft will slow down. It's going to try and get us to 131. So, I'm ready on flat 1. As soon as we get under that little marker there. Flat 1. Coming in. Get it in as soon as possible. I'm going to set the speed. I'm going to tell the aircraft what speed I want. I want 180 knots to 6. Once we get flap 2 in, we'll then begin to bring the gear down. Here comes the diamond for the glide slope. Malta traffic, it's Arrow, 8 Juliet Sierra, 10 miles to run, runway 31. Flap 2 is in. Once we intercept the glide slope and get to about 6 miles, that's when we'll bring the gear down, just to contradict myself. 27 knot sort of headwind, crosswind at the moment. Sat at 180 knots, we can get the gear down on flap 3 in just a sec. Okay, within 10 miles. Let's bring the gear down now. Flap 3. And flaps full.
2,500.
Give the aircraft control over the speed. Malta traffic, it's Arrow 8 Juliet Sierra, landing runway 31. Let's do it. Let's do it. The aircraft is now dropping the speed a lot. And we're going to be in. So, let's just do our landing checklist, make sure everything's ready. Landing gear is down, ECAM memo no blue. We need to do the cabin check, just to make sure. Ground spoilers are armed, auto brakes are armed. We're going to get ready on those reversers once we get in, because I want to get off that runway at Echo. A pleasure to be back in the A320neo. Oh, hello. Thanks again, Jakub Szymanski, for chartering this one. Sorry, I just tapped the throttles a little bit there and it throttled up. Everything's all good on the ECAM. No blue. Getting to 1,800 feet radio at the moment. Then we'll be in. Echo is there. Or is it there? No, that's, I think, Charlie. Echo's about there, so we're hoping to get off there. Scenery doesn't look that amazing around here at the moment. There's another airfield or something by the look of it there. Everything's loading in now. There's this wonderful sort of dock part here on the right hand side. But from this low angle it doesn't render in at such high fidelity, which is a bit of a shame. 1,500 feet. Still about 500 to go before we take the autopilot out when it says 1,000, but then again when we get over this cliff I imagine it'll then suddenly kick in. We've got quite the headwind, crosswind at the moment, 28 knots. I mean, look at how the aircraft is. Amazing. Go around altitude is 3,000 feet here, which is mighty handy because Chaz has already got that in. Just waiting now for that 1,000 call out. We're going to be pretty much bang on 1 hour and 40 minutes in the air as was planned. 1 hour 38 minutes at the moment. Should tick over to 39 any second as well. Not that that's of any concern. 1,100 feet. Any second now we'll hear the 1,000 call out. I'll press the button on my stick here and the autopilot will come out. Ready?
1,000.
There it is. My aircraft. It needs some fighting. Needs a little bit of movement. It's so hard to read that screen from this distance, but I'm trying to do it from distance just to be better at reading it in general. Tiny adjustments. We're going a little bit low on the glide slope. Oh, it's dipped us down all of a sudden there. The aircraft pitched up and then slowed down. We are below glide slope. We're really having to play with it today. That'll do. That'll do. We're back on it now.
400.
Okay, looking out the
100
window.
above. Minimum.
Continue. It's really moving about. There we go. Get her down. Oh, that crosswind is coming into effect now. Look at that.
50, 40, 30, 20. Retard.
Oh, the nose
10,
dipped. The nose dipped.
5.
Oh, that felt like quite the impact. Let's get on those reverses, shall we? I figured out what the issue was with my reverse axis, by the way. I know I've mentioned it in a few videos before, but I think it's just something to do with these throttles. Below 60 knots. Manual braking. Oh, we can get off here. Oh. Yes, don't come to a stop, you pig! Malta traffic, it's Arrow 8 Juliet Sierra, vacating runway 31. Flaps, let's clean them up. Speed brakes cleaned up as well. I don't know if we were allowed to come off here, but yeah, we've managed it. Flipping heck, it stopped so quickly. But then again, you know, we're on the reverses, so what do you expect? We'll get clear of this line and then we'll just hold for just a moment. And then we'll consider what our taxi route in will be. Pretty sure I know where we're going anyway. You can pretty much see stand for at the left hand side. So, after landing checklist, the speed brakes have been disarmed. Engine mode is back into normal, it was never out of it. TCAS goes to standby. Pop TCAS on standby. We'll whack that on TA just for the sake of it. Predicted wind shear comes off down here. And APU master switch and start switch come on. Wait a couple of seconds. Boop. Put the taxi light on. Landing lights come off. Runway turn-offs. Nah, never mind. Strobe goes back to auto. All good otherwise. We'll then crack on and get taxiing, shall we? Let me just find our route. So we got off at Delta. That's bloody impressive, if anything. So we've vacated at Delta. And we're going to get on at Tango and then Victor for stand 4. Bang him. Okay, parking brakes off. Malta traffic, it's Arrow 8 Juliet Sierra, taxiing stand 4 via Tango, Victor. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this one, everybody. I certainly have. This has been great. We'll have a good look at this scenery as well. There's an aircraft over there, actually. Are they on stand 4? Looks like they're near stand 4. Is that Air Malta as well? It's an Air Malta Airbus A320. The Tango, Uniform and Victor. That's X-ray there. We're not going on that. We're going to go around to Victor. You'll see the huge letters on the ground here. But this thing really builds up the steering pressure and the brake pressure in time, you know. I think they may be on stand 3 or even 2 actually. So we're all good. Let's get GSX ready at stand 4. Gate 4. Yeah, there you go. They're on the gate next to them. So as we're coming into here, taxi light comes off and we're going to park on the slant here. This is a great little airport. Look at this. It's a gorgeous building. We're flying up to our ramp marshal. Whoa, we are screaming up to him. Oh, again, I've absolutely housed it. Oh no, come on Chaz, you can do better than that. Oh, that'll do. Okay, parking brake comes on. And let's just make sure we've got everything ready to be shut down. So parking brake, nose light is already off, runway turn-offs are off, APU bleed needs to come on up here. Up here. And then engine masters 1 and 2 off, and then seatbelt signs as well. So we'll go down here and so you can see me do it. Engines 2 and then 1. We've got the ramp operative doing a little dance. I could hear Gangnam Style playing when I went outside. Seatbelt signs now come off, and then the beacon light comes off as well. And then fuel pumps up top all come off. Left to right. Smashing. And welcome to Malta, everybody. That was a really, really good flight, that was. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you so much to Jakub Szymanski for chartering this one. Hope you've all enjoyed the resulting video. Don't forget you too can charter flights via my website. Beautiful location here in Malta, and hopefully fly here again and fly out of Italy again. So yeah, thanks very much for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next episode.